All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen, and to all our viewers out there. This is the first installment of a series of curated conversations that we have put out to the market. We will be discussing the Umhlanga Arch. In today's session, we have Marc Rosenberg, Executive Partner at the Multiply Group, and one of the team members behind the Arch project. Marc, welcome to the conversation.
Thanks for having me, Lukey. Really good to see you online. So I know you are in Australia, in a first world country, and helping us in these virtual times.
Marc, thank you so much for your time. I understand that we are in a very unique situation, and teams and businesses are having to re-strategize and pivot. And so time is valuable for you. So we appreciate you dropping in and chatting to us. I just want to cover the theme of the conversation today. We'll be discussing the vision, product, and progress of Umhlanga Arch. And what a better way to kick off the series with, as I say, a member behind the team that really did conceptualize and bring this product and is bringing this product to market. So thank you, Marc, again.
Pleasure.
As an opening, I just think it's important, bearing in mind that we are in a crisis, and I know there's a lot of conversation around COVID-19, and the focus of this conversation is around Umhlanga Arch as a product. But I do think that to be sensitive, we need to acknowledge the fact that there are people who have been put out by this crisis and who are exposed. And so perhaps you can comment on what you at Multiply and more specifically Umhlanga Arch are doing to minimize the exposure of all the stakeholders at the Umhlanga Arch, as well as adopt a new philosophy on hygiene, health and safety.
Fantastic. Thanks, Lukey. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's such uncertain and unsettling times for so many people out in the marketplace. And the one thing that's been such a privilege for me, I'm still, as I said, in my career, very, very young in my career. And, I'm just surrounded by such competent partners and guys with a lot of experience, but most importantly, a team of people that's just got on their heart is people and community. And I think that will start to come through when you start to talk about the vision and the product and the progress of Umhlanga Arch. You'll see how the product has evolved and the vision has evolved. But as soon as the pandemic hit, and certainly here in South Africa, we got placed on a lockdown, our first meeting that we held with all of our stakeholders was, how do we protect our people? And how is the virus going to affect the market moving forward? Because the one really important thing in any business, as we understand it and as we look at things, is that you can have a great product, but if the market doesn't want it anymore, or if they are looking for something different, it doesn't matter how good your product is, it's not going to be a success. So we wanted to focus on not only our people, but also on the people out there that have supported us and have backed us, and have been looking forward to the product that we were going to bring to them. So out of those meetings came a very focused plan of managing our people, our staff, both internally in our investment company, but also in the Umhlanga Arch Development Company, which is quite large. We do subcontract. Our head contractor is WHO. We have got a number of subcontractors, so we employ over 1,000 people. So obviously the communication out there is vast, but we've made sure we've touched base with all of our people right from the very beginning, and we're having daily and weekly contact with our people. And where our focus kind of shifted was straight away we moved away from understanding that this is a commercial project, more to say that this is going to be a project. It always was a project we hoped would envision people, but it is going to become a beacon of hope for people, something to look forward to. And where people have been very focused on commercial returns and on security in their homes and their properties and their investments, a new theme started to develop very quickly, which was one of health security. People wanted to know, is my health being looked after and taken care of? What systems do you have in place to look after me, not only in construction, but once the building is in operation and you've got residents moving in and patrons coming into food halls and retail outlets and the hotel, etc. So we focused intently on developing a very health security conscious brand and product. And the way that we've kind of looked at things over this period, Luke, is as you know, we've been in multiple conversations, is there's been a lot of talk around what to do around the virus, and should we lock it down, and that means we're protecting lives, or should we open up the economy because that means we're promoting and stimulating livelihoods of people. And so our approach has been both. You know, we want to come into this environment as a private company, and put systems and procedures in place that are going to protect people's lives from the virus, whether it be educating them on what to do, how to boost their immune systems, how to practice good social distancing, both in the workplace and in transport and at home, or whether it be creating an environment where they can operate safely in the workspace, where they feel like their safety and their health safety is not going to be compromised. So that's been the major focus for us as a group, and we've been working with all of our professionals and all of our stakeholders pretty intently over the last couple of weeks. And as we get into the vision of the building, I'll demonstrate how we've been able, just with subtle changes and being a little bit flexible, investing a little bit more into our product, how we feel we're going to have not only a smart building of the future, but one that's certainly going to be the best prepared post-COVID or post this lockdown process situation, to develop and bring a product to the market that is one of a kind. It's going to be an industry leader, we believe.
Thanks, Mark. And on touching on development, as you mentioned, you know, I think a lot of local residents in Umhlanga have seen this journey trace from groundbreaking to what we see now in pretty much, you know, facial elements and changes being installed onto Arch. It's about 85% complete. You know, going back to early 2016 when this idea was conceived, could you give us a bit of insight into the early discussions behind why Project Arch? And I'd like you to maybe share on, you know, why your specific focus was KwaZulu-Natal and Umhlanga to break ground.
Right. I think it's actually such a great story, and it's an inspiring story, and it's one that actually shows people's heart for communities and for cities, and also vision, which is something that's lacking quite a lot of the time. So you know, just if we contextualize, you mentioned about why KwaZulu-Natal. You know, if you look at the city of Durban, you know, and we've known this for some time. Luke, you and I have had experience of working together on the African continent and seeing how different countries engage with each other. And one of the best things about Durban and KwaZulu-Natal is its location on the east coast of South Africa, access to the east, access up the east coast of Africa, and obviously into Central Africa. We've got the biggest port in Africa. We've got Richards Bay, which is another fantastic port. We've got some of the biggest mines in the country. Richards Bay Minerals is one of them. We've got 11 million people, I think, in KZN, which is it's a big economy. A lot of skilled people. We've got lots of land. We've got beautiful developments. The city planning has been exceptional. So, you know, there's a lot going for our city. And, you know, we actually flew over Dallas-Fort Worth when we were doing a little bit of research into properties and trends and what the market was looking for and futuristic kind of cities and developments. And we saw how Dallas-Fort Worth was taking farmland and converting it into these wonderful cities where people would have the ability to live, work, stay, and play, which became our kind of tagline. And when you fly over Durban, you see the same thing. We've got wonderful land, large tracts of sugarcane, great infrastructure in place. We connected an hour flight to Johannesburg. Again, all the infrastructure is right here, a wonderful airport that's been developed. So it just made sense for us to invest in the city. We've got a lot of competent people. And Luke, one of the biggest things that we've noticed about Durban is that there are pockets of excellence everywhere. We've got some of the biggest companies, not only in our country, but some global companies just on our doorstep. And we just felt that there wasn't any big investment, enough big investment going into our city on world-class futuristic type projects that were going to bring people to our city and promote collaboration. And so that became a very exciting theme that developed for us. But as it turned out, you know, our chairman and my father, Terry Rosenberg, had his eye on a piece of land in Umhlanga. It was like the jewel of Umhlanga was just being released. And it just so happened one day that the piece of land came up, and our leadership took a great bold decision wasn't in our planning. It wasn't in our thinking. We weren't planning on doing a big development. It came up and we said, we have to get this land and we have to invest in this property. We have to create a building that is going to inspire hope in our people, promote collaboration in our communities, and just really become a beacon of hope. I know I've used that word a couple of times just in this sentence, but it's so relevant in this time. People are always looking for something to inspire them. And so we took the plunge. And I must say, getting the development to where it is now, we were so fortunate in getting great teams around us, from Craft of Architecture, who are our architectural firm. From what they conceptualized on in a very short period of time to what you see today is it's immaculate. And it's very visionary of them as well. And we've just surrounded ourselves with good people. We found that we had a great piece of land and we had a responsibility, Luki, to make this asset one of the jewels of our country and one of the go-to attractions of our country. And then we can explain a little bit more of the vision as we unpack.
It makes for an amazing story and really encouraging to see concept being brought to life. And fundamentally important to that is what you touch on a lot, and that's teamwork and understand that the Multiply Group and Umhlanga Arch Development Company are very people centric. And doing a bit of research and understanding your mission statement as a company, it's wonderful to see that you really are focused on using your commercial positioning as a company to bring about social change. And I'd like to just touch on this quickly because I do think it's an important commentary and part of the whole Umhlanga Arch narrative, because I do believe that post-COVID, we're going to see a lot of businesses having to shift their philosophies to use their commercial positioning for social development and social growth. And so just touching on that and your philosophy in doing so, how have you applied that to Umhlanga Arch specifically as a development?
That's a good question, Luke. I think, we're an investment company, so we invest our own money, our own capital, and obviously look to achieve attractive returns. And we invest other people's money, and they want to see that they're getting a return on their money. But as you so rightly say, there's so much opportunity to invest your money wisely into businesses, into spaces where you're going to see an immense impact and create these legacies that are just going to spur on the future generations, and whether it's transferring skill, help creating and sustaining businesses, forming partnerships with people, and still achieve attractive commercial returns. So what we did right at the beginning was it's a collaborative mindset. So you sit in the first discussion, and you can dream, right? You can dream about, what are we going to do here? How can we make this building just green? How can we make this building for everyone? How can we make it unique and different? And you start to realize that things start to come at a cost, as you start to add all these unique elements to the structure. But the one thing that's really stood out for us is, certainly at the Multiply Group, it's worked well, or there's two really. It's relationships that are embedded in trust, and then the collaborative nature of those relationships and how you nurture them and what comes out of them. And what we found so very quickly was that something that was looking like it was going to be a costly exercise and way out of our league, and it wasn't going to produce a return for people that were risking their capital on quite a bold vision, whether it's the banks or private investors, we soon found a team of people around us so solution driven, with the same mindset and the same heart for people, and promoting people and livelihoods and small, medium sized businesses, that things became achievable from a commercial standpoint. Something that you thought, I could only get this technology out of the West or out of the East, and it's going to be exceptionally costly. People were innovating, and teams were coming together and collaborating, and we ended up developing products that we were able to bring to the market. That was, number one, it was creating job opportunities for people in our province in the short term, but it will also in the long term. It was envisioning people. It was letting them know that something is possible. Everybody's got bold visions of what they want to do, and often they don't know how to do it or who to do it with. And I found like a lot of the senior leadership in our team was able to bring those people together to give them the exposure that they needed, equip them with the right tools and thinking and support, to be able to produce the product that I think we have today. So, what we see here is a building that's coming out the ground that we believe is going to be on a world-class standard anywhere. When you put it on the global scale, it will be recognized globally. It has already. Rainmaker Marketing, I'd love to take credit, but they did all the great work. But Rainmaker Marketing have won an international award for the best marketed development on the African continent. And we believe this product is going to have that impact globally, nationally, locally, and on people. And I think, when you talk about people, Luke, and I think this is really something, it's something that you might hear me say a lot, but certainly my family, it's something that I've grown up with, embedded in me in my very early days from my father and my mother. But, it's around people. And that's the way that we're focusing on what we do and how we do it. Because if you look at your family unit and your home, that's people. People and families make up streets. Streets make up neighborhoods, communities, provinces, nations. And so it really all starts in the home and with the people in your community. And so whatever we've tried to do, we've tried to make sure that we are incorporating local people. We are improving their ability to create and sustain their own businesses, to contribute to our economy and to their own livelihoods and their own success. And again, envision and power, and make it so that this is a sustainable opportunity for them to move on from this project to other projects. So we're not only looking at what can Arch do for Arch, we're looking at what Arch can do for the greater community, which in essence, when you drill down, is what it can do for people. I hope that makes sense. I've got a tendency to be quite long-winded and get off topic, but it is something that we're quite passionate about.
No, it's brilliant to see. And what I really enjoy is the fact that, this conversation has a really nice base texture to it. It's good for people to understand the philosophy behind Umhlanga Arch. I know a lot of people look at a development from the external facet perspective, but it is really good to understand, the heart behind the development team, which does translate into, the product that is offered to market. So it is really encouraging to see that is a philosophy that you maintain through ideation all the way through to, where you see groundbreak and a development like Umhlanga Arch go up. I think it would be really nice for us to discuss a bit more about the elements of the building. I know during this time, from a sales and marketing perspective, you can take a conversation only up until a point in property where your prospective client would like to see the physical stock itself. And there's no better way to envision a client than to take them and see the physical product. We don't have the benefit of being able to do that right now, but I think it'll be quite nice if you could please just touch on, what makes Umhlanga Arch product a truly mixed use, live, work, stay, play development.
Great, Lukey, thanks, man. So I mean, just if I can start off, the positive here for us in this space, although we locked down and haven't completed our building, is we are, as you say, very far along to completion. And I know you're going to touch on a bit of that a little bit later. But the one thing that we're very focused on when I start to talk about the product and live, work, stay, play, and what we've seen internationally and what we've seen here, is whatever product we're developing, we're very focused on the market and understanding what their needs are. We also are very focused on understanding what product is in the market right now. So are we just going to saturate the market with more of the same? And I must say, for me, the penny dropped. I know a lot of of our leaders and the guys that were visionaries on the project, the penny probably dropped a lot earlier. But I was sitting in a conversation with Renzo Scribanti, who's one of the best food operators in our province. And he said, in the research that they've done, there's 200 to 300 eateries in a certain radius. And, and what came out of that for me, when you looked at the product that was in the market, it was very similar. So there wasn't a lot of brand loyalty or consumer loyalty or uniqueness about what people were getting. There were a lot of them were commercialized brands and commercialized products. So if you were in La Lucia, as an example, in one area of our city, and you needed a product, chances are that you could get it at an outlet similar to where you are working, or where you might drop your kids at school. So you're not going into the shop, you're not going into the store, and you're not meeting with Luke Riding and having that personal connection and having that brand and customer and consumer loyalty that I think was was so prevalent historically. And so what we tried to do when we were conceptualizing the building, and when we were saying what would each element be broken down to, what kind of tenants are we looking for, what retailers are we looking for, what commercial tenants are we looking for, and how are we going to package and market our product that's going to suit their needs. And the one thing that we realized there is that there's a lot of stock that's coming out there. It's just on a production line. A lot of buildings are going up, a lot of shopping malls are going up, a lot of residential houses are going up. But what value are we creating for our people? So we broke them down. If you look at the live portion of what we've created, we've got 200 residential units, which has got about 30 loft units attached to it, which is like a single bed unit. This was a bit of an afterthought, but it ties into my story, because the market was telling us that there was a lot of people that were looking for just a one-bedroom apartment, just a one-bedroom flat, something small, something manageable, commercially viable, of course, but something that was central, not a garden flat of some sort, not some 50 grand a month penthouse suite or whatever it is. So we tailored our product as we were moving along in our development phase, converting some of our parking bays into loft units to take to the market. So we wanted to make this nice and unique for them, and we thought to ourselves, right, there's two things. One, commercially, there's a lot of stock that's going on and people are just putting prices up. So we actually reduced our selling price for a lot of investors. And I think a lot of guys are going to see that growth now. Not only has Durban historically been growing at 21% year on year, but their apartment at a reduced rate is certainly going to be a good investment for them. Then we thought to ourselves, obviously security is a big thing, and we didn't know about the whole COVID pandemic, but we've gone for facial recognition security. We've got 259 cameras plus on site that are smart cameras with slight tweaks and adjustments. We can now make them relevant to temperature controls and social distancing protocol that can be monitored from a remote location from a security perspective. So we are super well equipped for the post-lockdown period to protect our people, not only from a security perspective, but also from a health perspective. And I think that the great thing just in that kind of learning was that in any development or in any business, you've got to be flexible and adaptable to the market. You can't make your product so one or two dimensional that it can't be maneuvered and changed to suit the needs of the market, what the market is telling you that they need. So we were very fortunate now in that space to say, right, we've sold our residential block out. We've got a couple of loft apartments left over. And we haven't been marketing that intently, but I'm surprised at the interest we've been getting on that over this lockdown period. But I think that the reason why is that when you look at the residential unit and how this is different to other developments, is you can drop down the elevator and walk onto our high street into a retail environment that's not boxed in. So you don't have concerns about fresh air circulation, especially in a health security kind of conscious environment. Again, we've targeted really boutique retailers, owner-operated stores. And each one of them has been walking this journey with us brilliantly. Right at the beginning, we're trying to attract people that had unique and differentiated product offerings. Something that you couldn't get if you just went to a big shopping mall, whether it be in Umhlanga or La Lucia or wherever it is. You had to come to this development to experience it. So you're experiencing, number one, the relationship with the retailer, but also unique kind of product. And again, with the openness of the arch, with the yard that we've got there, with beautiful grassed area and undercover awnings, from an adaptability perspective, moving into this health conscious kind of mindset, we're able to just be a little bit agile, tweak things a little bit to make it really health secure for patrons visiting us. From an eatery perspective, again, we were trying to discuss and see how trends of people were developing. How were people liking to eat and engage? Personally, from my experience, you would see that steak restaurants were under pressure. Why? Because if you have a family of 5, maybe 2 of them are vegan. Maybe one wants a pizza, or one wants a chicken, or one is following a certain diet. We're so much more conscious of our bodies and our diets these days. We need the need has arisen for choice. We're not driven anymore by just mass consumer products. We're looking for that relational, unique element. And although we are in an environment now where we are engaging a lot like this, and post-COVID, I'm sure we'll still see an increase in the amount of engagement like this. People are still craving those relational and experiential opportunities. So we've created a wonderful brand called the Legacy Yard, which is a food hall, vendor type setup, but not the mindset of a farmer's food hall. You know, something that you wouldn't mind taking your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or even your mom on mother. We've just had Mother's Day on a Mother's Day evening to celebrate her. You know, so it's really upmarket. We spent time and we've invested in that, and not only in the product but in the people behind it. You wouldn't want to go and eat at a restaurant that I develop, I can assure you. But the guys that we partnered with are global leaders in this space, visionaries in this space, always forward thinking. We've got a wonderful backyard upstairs where guys are going to be able to drink, guys and girls, and socialize and engage in a health, secure, safe environment, not in a closed, controlled space where you've got circulated air coming around. So, you know, our development, Luke, you know, if you're looking from a residential to retail and experiential perspective, for owners to own a piece of property there and not have to travel around and compromise themselves touching buttons and moving in and out of new places and not knowing who's in what space and how they're controlling those environments, we've got a really nice, secure environment. Similarly with the Hilton Hotel that's developed there, 200 keys, very nicely controlled, great development, great hotel space, and very forward-thinking brand. And again, with our commercial spaces that we have on there, you know, I think guys are starting to see now that these big offices and these big overheads are not necessary anymore. And we're in a really unique position now where we've got floor plates, we've got biometric control systems already installed. We can be flexible for people. And just in the last week, so we're sitting here on the 13th of May, 2020, just in the last week, we've had 3 tenants put in offers for commercial space because they see the need has arisen for them to change their circumstance, to change their environment, to look after their own people, and to find the right spaces that are going to be best adaptive to the future COVID, the future past COVID. So, you know, I think just from those elements, Luke, what we've tried to always do is really tap into the market, engage with the market, not be rigid in what product we're trying to develop. And I think at times as a developer and from a return perspective, it may cost us a little bit. We've had to reinvest a little bit of our own capital to change and adjust. But we know that the product at the end of the day will be something that's just totally unique. And certainly in South Africa, will become an industry leader in this space and hopefully have a massive global impact.
That's excellent, Mark. And I think, you know, it's really good to note as an investor at the Arch, you know, you're not just buying into the physical stock of your apartment or commercial office. You know, you do have that very convenient access to all these types of amenities, which, you know, off the balance sheet add so much value to what you're buying in at Arch. Just on the Arch development, I heard a really interesting position taken up by an industry-leading marketing specialist the other day. And they said it's not the consumer's job to be interested, but the seller's job to be interesting. And I thought it'd be quite nice to ask you, in terms of the Umhlanga Arch as a product, what are the most interesting facets of the Arch that you would like to showcase?
Geez, I love that. I'm going to coin that, but maybe you can, at the end of me coining that, say a marketing industry expert or something like that. But I think
actually mentioned it was, but I forgot.
No, I think that's fantastic, Luke. I mean, again, that adds on to what we've been saying about trying to develop really unique products for the market. So it's not more of the same, you know, moving away from these commoditized products. So, you know, for us, let's talk about the whole experience. You know, if I really do want to focus on our yard area, which is inside the Arch, if I can, for uniqueness. And you know, we're in a city, right? So you know, if you're somebody that's looking for greenery and big open spaces and small holdings and that type of thing, you don't get that in the city. You go to a shopping mall, you've got massive corridors, white lights, you're boxed in, same kind of shop fronts. And it just doesn't give you that feeling of uniqueness and authenticity anymore, you know? So we focused a lot on that, but now we focused a lot on experience. You know, often guys talk about something when they've enjoyed the experience of something, whether it's relationally or from a taste or from a memory. That's really what creates people's appetite to move back to a space. So when you're coming into the Arch, we've got state-of-the-art parking system, and again, this isn't one of a kind. It's being rolled out in a number of developments, but it's number plate recognition, it's facial recognition. We've got multiple floors of parking. We've got almost 8 levels of parking available for people coming in, which is a really big thing. Certainly in South Africa, parking can be a nightmare in the city. So that experience is great. Accessing up onto our high street, what we wanted to do was create an environment where people wouldn't think, like, I don't want to just go to the shops today. I want to go and feel. I want to see activity happening. I want to see people. Obviously not now at close quarters, which we can look to manage. Just as an aside, what we're going to be doing is installing sanitizer booths. We got temperature controls that are going to be monitoring people coming in and out of all the entrances of the arch. So helping secure people from a health perspective coming in. But our high street concept developed where we had cobbled streets. We wanted our shop fronts to be different textures. So whether you've got steel or glass or face brick, or just normal concrete or wood, and different awning to come outside. So we wanted to give people that high street feel. So many South Africans go to Europe and they walk down these little roads and nooks and crannies and say, wow, we walked around the corner and there was a wonderful fountain and somebody that had a great little coffee shop there, and this guy made the best baguette you're going to ever taste in your life. Those are the stories that come back to South Africans, and we wanted to create that. And what did we do? Down one of our corridors and our alleys around the corner, we've got a wonderful fountain. Outside, a great eatery, something called Butterscotch, which is going to be introduced by Renzo Scribanti. Next to a flower shop, which is going to be serving tea and scones and champagne. And you're going to get those unique experiences on a shopping visit where you can go and get your hair and your nails and your beauty treatments done. You can go and sit outside with your friends and socialize in an environment where you're not compromised from a health perspective, with a one-of-a-kind shop, not a franchised shop. So the owner is going to be sitting there talking to you, helping you. They're going to be creating new products and experiences all the time. So it's always going to be changing and different. So we've created those types of spaces, and our retailers have been phenomenal. We have gone away from commoditized retailers. So you're not going to see, if you want to go to your big brands, I think you're going to have to go to your big shopping centers. But we've really focused on those businesses, the entrepreneurs that drive our country, and that drive our economy. What we have in the middle, we've got like this big park area, and the word park's been used a lot. So we've introduced it as the yard. Next to it is the food hall, which I touched on, which is called the Legacy Yard. And upstairs, our beautiful drinks area, which is called the Backyard. So just quite unique names and spaces and experiences that we've introduced. But in our yard space now, we've got a 10 by 2.8 or 3 meter TV screen that's going up. Beautiful high definition screen. Reveal, again, we talk about partnerships and collaborations. Tanner Rock has come to the party in a big way there to collaborate with us from Reveal. And we're going to create unique experiences in that space, whether they're movie nights or Valentine's Day evenings or picnics, again, with all the right health and security and social distancing protocol observed, but spaces where people can come within the city environment where you can't ordinarily, where you can come and you can shop, you can do your convenience grocery shopping, you can buy some clothes, you can do some health and beauty maintenance and touch-ups. And you can share a drink and experience and a meal with friends in a great environment. I know, Luke, you've been driving on about certain initiatives that we could be running in that space, collaborating with wildlife shows and series and cameras to create unique experiences. So we wanted to create an environment and a space which is flexible enough that you're not going to get more of the same. We want people to be coming back week after week after week to Umhlanga Arch and experiencing something different every week. And we think we've created spaces that allow us that flexibility and allow us that opportunity to create these experiences for people, which we feel is unique in this environment. And from a residential perspective, we're so fired up about it because it allows the residents, it's going to create so much value for them in the sense that they don't have to keep on getting in their car and driving for meals and driving for, if they want to go visit or watch a show or listen to some live music. It's all going to be right on their doorstep. So super convenient from that perspective. And I think that is really something unique that we've tried to introduce into the Umhlanga Arch, and something that we don't feel any other development is doing or can offer. They haven't got these curated spaces with the flexibility the infrastructure, the collaboration with the types of people that I've been mentioning briefly from time to time, putting up new, exciting, innovative entertainment ideas, and actually have the courage to do so. And I think that's a really big thing. If I can, I know I'm just moving on a little bit here, but the one thing I've been super inspired by and grateful for is a lot of our team members and our partners have had the courage to do things that are not the norm, that the market doesn't have access to right now. They're new trends that are evolving. They're new concepts that are evolving. And we're going to bring that to this market, and we're going to see that spread throughout our country, we believe.
Brilliant, Marc. And then, Marc, to close out on this conversation and just speak to progress quickly, because I think there are quite a few people out there looking in on the project and just asking the question of where it is positioned in terms of, the finishing touches. So could you just comment on where you are as a team, as a development team, just with regards to the temporary shutdown that we've experienced, and what the market could expect in the coming months?
Great. So let me go through the development quickly, very briefly. It's a 45,000 bulk square development. 5,000 square meters was sold off to Sean McCarthy at SMG, and they've got a world-class dealership in there. Again, I mentioned at the beginning of this discussion, I'm a young guy. It's not like I've built a lot of dealerships in my time. I've walked in a couple of them, but their vision that they've had there is just so aligned with ours to create something of exceptional quality, something that's completely different from an experiential perspective. And what a great brand to have association with. So their dealership is up and running, and even in this lockdown, as an essential service and car maintenance, etc., they are operating. In terms of and they're fully operational. In terms of our commercial block, we have got 91, which is Investec Asset Management, and a couple of other wealth specialists that are already moved in onto level 1, and they are operating during the lockdown period as an essential service. A lot of our other floors on the commercial building, as Multiply Group, we were probably 10 days away from moving in before the lockdown hit us, sadly. And so we are on the cusp of filling up those commercial spaces. From a retail perspective, we're a couple of months away now from the lockdown, from getting those stores back in action. And obviously a lot's going to be dependent on the president of South Africa and the different levels, and when certain levels kind of unlock businesses within our economy. But the great thing for us in that space, we're not seeing that as a negative at all. We're seeing that as a great learning curve, a great experience, a time for us to adapt the product, the model, the protocol, the flows, the signage, whatever we need to put in place to protect our people from a security and a health security perspective, to really look after them from their lives and their health, and then to protect their livelihoods, as I've mentioned before. Our food hall concept, very similarly, we're very close, a month or two away from that opening up, but we'll play it by ear. We're going to see how the economy is going to be slowly coming back to work and being unlocked. And it's going to be great timing for us as we put the finishing touches on that. From a residential perspective, we are a couple of weeks away from handing over the first 11 floors. And these units are beautiful inside. They're complete. All we got to do is a few touch-ups in some of our corridors, in some of the common areas, and then we can hand over. And we're really excited about that. The 11 floors is effectively half of our development. From the Hilton Hotel perspective, they're putting in all the furniture and their fittings. They are, as far along as they could be, been exceptional partners. Travel could be one of the last things to be unlocked finally. But again, these guys are putting in procedures and processes and systems and marketing tools that are going to be able to equip the traveler when the time arises for them to be able to travel and move around, to come to the Arch and feel completely safe and secure. And it really is a great partner to have the Hilton Hotel. So we're really fired up about that. So Luke, we've been interviewed actually a bit in the press recently, and I know a lot of developments are struggling, and we're here to help support them. A lot of the procedures and things that we're putting in place, we've said to government from a private perspective, we want to partner with other development companies and building projects, and we want to help equip them with our lessons and our learnings to help their developments to actually continue, because it's so important to our economy, both at a local and a national level, that these developments happen. But where we are so lucky is that we are, like you said, so far advanced. And with interest rates coming down from the Reserve Bank, our product is becoming even more affordable. And so we're very excited about that. So we feel from a product perspective, we are giving an exceptional product to the market. Something that is not the norm. It's not been seen in our province before. We are so excited about that, and for people to see the product that we're creating and the people behind that product. And when I say people behind that product, I'm not saying developers or funders or architects. I'm talking about the people that are going to come and invest and operate and run their businesses through those halls and those spaces. So we're excited about that. And we just believe that this product is a great commercial investment. It's a great beacon of hope for people within our community to see that there's something aspirational and inspirational like this that is going up post-COVID. And we are going to make sure that we are going to have a calendar of specially curated events that are going to be cognizant of the health security environment that we are in, but are going to inspire hope and vision in people and give them something to look forward to again. Just as my last closing on that point, Lukey, I saw a little clip the other day. It was from a bank, I think. I'll give them a shameless punt. I don't know what it's worth on here and how many people are going to see this, but it's Tangerine Bank, I think it was. And basically it was saying, we will hug again, we will laugh again, we will play again, we will shop again, we will, eat again, we will send a steak back again, if it's not the right, the cooked to the right temperature. We're going to do all of these things again. And we are going to be a place that is going to inspire that hope in people and reignite that vision in people to let them know that this is not the end. It's the beginning. And what was before was maybe not the norm. We were running at such a fast pace before. We've had the time to recalibrate, to bring products into the market that we think are going to change the way that people are going to engage and interact, and the expectations of products and brands moving forward is going to be set from this. So we're excited, Luke, and not blindly excited and naive to the circumstances around us, but we are taking responsibility for what we can take responsibility of for, and we're going to put a great product out into the market that we think is going to be well received.
Brilliant, Marc. Thank you so much for just the insights and the background story and strategy behind Umhlanga Arch, as well as just the amazing catalytic products that are coming to Durban. I definitely think you use the word beacon of hope, and I think that that's exactly what this is going to be on the Ridge side. I just want to thank you for your time. This has been an interesting forum. I think COVID has really encouraged people to open their minds about engaging online. So on that note, I'd encourage anyone who has viewed this video to interact, post your comments, ask questions. The members at Arch Properties team will be responsive and will get back to you if you're interested. But we're really excited. I think the coming months are going to be full of joy and hope when people are able to leave their homes confidently and have experiences like the Umhlanga Arch that are cognizant of changing times. And we're just really privileged to be a part of that movement. So thank you, Marc, for your time. And we look forward to the discussions that will follow on from this.
No, thank you, Luke. I really appreciate it, bud. And just really excited to see this product come to market and change our city skyline and landscape. And thank you so much for your time.